Murder1nc playing off against Stormkeeper now. Alright guys, so we've got a best of one here between Murder1nc and Stormkeeper for the Warchief Club 12 for the Americas trials on day 1. And so Murder1nc as the red French player and the blue English player is Stormkeeper. So second scout for Stormkeeper, while Murder1nc has also gone for 2 scouts. So really handy, just to try and give you that little bit of edge with map control. Get more sheep out of the map and figure out where everything is, rather than where most things are and just sort of winging it with where resources should be. And on top of that, you can always harass in the early stages, once you've done so, on the gold mine in particular, or the stone if your opponent is trying to go for a quick second town centre. So very quick mill here by the English player, which is pretty standard, while the French player just going to go with food and gold for the most part to start with and transition onto the wood a little bit slower. So Stormkeeper will probably be eager to try and squeeze in Wheelbarrow and then get his farms, while Murder1nc probably going to look at fielding some knights first before he worries about going to the Wheelbarrow transition and then delaying his farm tech even longer because it's very expensive for them, while French eco techs are cheaper, so their regular gather rates are generally a little bit higher, and on top of that you've got more villagers because they train a little bit faster. So Stormkeeper probably going to want to mount some quick aggression, but also make sure he's got spears to defend against knights from Murder1nc, because the French player is going to get a really quick knight opening, particularly if you slow yourself down to get Wheelbarrow and either of the other food techs. But at the same time, your farms are really cheap and you've got a mostly wood food eco early on, so it tends to be quite easy to get your eco rolling and actually start the slow push in age 2. Plus the knights are such an heavy investment per unit early on in the game. If you snipe 1 or 2, you actually find you're quite a bit ahead. Whereas if he snipes 1 or 2 of your spears or your bows, it's not quite as consequential. And then you can always add in man-at-arms if the French player adds in a lot of ranged units, and you can do so quicker than any of the other civs as the English. While the French player is probably one of the few age 2 matchups that they're actually not able to just really make their mark and put themselves ahead in the early to mid game. I mean, they still can for sure, particularly if the English player tries playing greedy or makes some mistakes, but it's one of the few times where you've really sort of got to babysit your knights and hope you don't overextend, because the town centre deals a little bit of extra damage, and on top of that the longbowmen don't have to get as close as regular archers do to trade either against the knights or against any of your own archers, and on top of that range disparity, yeah, proves to be a bit of a pain in the ass, because generally you're going to be behind on rage count anyway, so you've got to be really careful with your archers generally. Because if you invest in a lot of archers early on as French, it tends to slow you down. Like the English age 3 landmark that they'll go for is the town centre one. So Council Hall going down now, but it's a little bit slower than the School of Cavalry considering. But in saying that, that's because the Wheelbarrow tech's been squeezed in here by Stormkeeper, and like I said, 2 scouts means that you can harass your opponent's gold mine while they're trying to scout you out. Murder1nc just needs to bring his scouts together and fight under his town centre, and he can turn this fight around for sure. So Stormkeeper's going to have to retreat here. But the idea is if you can sort of dogpile onto a villager, you might be able to get them low enough that your opponent either pulls that villager back or uses the rest to try and fight your scout. You can delay some gather time. So we're going for an early mill here, Murder1nc. So particularly on a nice open map like this, it'll be a hard and fast game on this matchup, I think. Because there's already a knight in the field here for Murder1nc, and he's probably gonna get chivalry early, add some more knights, and probably add a range. Look at going to age 3. Stormkeeper probably gonna add maybe a barracks, and then look at going to age 3. Sorry, just sneezing me head off. So yeah, there's a barracks going down here for Stormkeeper as his council hall's finishing up. So he's going to have access to the spearmen now in age 2. I mean, in age 1, being English, he can always commit to man-at-arms and try and push and upset the French player before they can really afford to get on a good number of knights in age 2. But I think French is probably one of the worst civs to try and play like that into. Because the others, if they try and go the natural counter to infantry early, which is the archers, you can just walk all over them with man-at-arms generally. With a mix of, well, man-at-arms and your own archers. So there is some nifty English age 1 rush strats, which I haven't actually had the pleasure of casting yet. Well, this is fairly meta play from our players, particularly the French player looking to harass early on with some knights and force the English player to have to commit to the barracks. So I've only ever seen one game where an English player hasn't gone for the council hall, and I haven't seen any games where the French player hasn't gone for the school of cav. I don't think. So Murder1nc just trying to get a good number of knights out and try and deny any attempt at small archer move outs. Because he can regen through this while the longbows won't. So provided this knight doesn't get killed here, and it's not going to, he can suddenly come out of this trade ahead once this guy regens. So Murder1nc is now adding his own range. He's going to bring everything back, I think, because as long as he can tank initially, he should be fine from here. So he is going to add a range, add a second range as well. Probably could do with adding a tower too, just in case he needs to garrison vills in the middle of the fight, or garrison, well, any low unit really. Ooh, but this is nice for Stormkeeper because he's going to be able to, yeah, he's going to bring down that knight fairly easily and harass. Ooh, he might even pick off, yeah, he's going to get that scout really low, not going to pick it off. But Murder1nc dropping a knight this early on, that's a pretty big blow, considering that they're going to cost, yeah, 3 times as much as your archers. Ooh, and these idle villager there is not great. Ooh, but this is nice for Murder1nc. He's going to pick off a couple of eager bowmen, but saying that, the bowmen are now going to deny the gold mine for the French player. So he's going to have to try and... Ooh, and Stormkeeper's house behind all this. But he's picking off a few vills, which is great for him. 2... Is he even going to get a third? No, not quite get the third one. But Murder1nc, yep, on the garrison now. Murder1nc probably needs to look at shifting over to this other gold mine as soon as he can, because right now he has a lot of idlers. He's even going to go for the mill down here, so that's quite risky. I mean, if he's going to do that, he might as well go for the gold mine anyway. Ooh, but he's not sure if he wants to commit to it. Actually, he's going to go for a tower. Thank you for the follow. And so Murder1nc, I think he's decided he's going to have to make a push soon, because this has been very aggressive and very successful from Stormkeeper, having sniped pretty much all the ranged here. So now his spears can engage against the knights however they see fit, and he can use the bows to try and chip away at the eco of Murder1nc from here. So this is really rough for Murder1nc. I think he really needs to get on this gold mine over here, and I don't know if he's actually seen it. Well, he has, like, he's uncovered it, so he should see it. He should know he needs to get on it, especially if he wants to get on the mill, but he's just sitting with a lot of idle vills at the moment, which is really hurting him, and Stormkeeper's keeping the creep going. He's only brought 1 vill to get this all set up, and that's been great for him. He's not costing himself a lot of eco while this is going on, and this trade's been going really well. So Murder1nc, the pressure's on. He's got these two rangers, but they're so aggressively placed, he probably needed to just initially put the tower or two here and have the rangers over here at the side of his base. Because right now, oh, and he's not even training any archers at the moment, but when he was, they were getting picked off one by one, so a bit rough for him. So behind this, you've got Stormkeeper, basically having added not much at all to his base, but he hasn't even gone for any eco techs behind this. He's largely just relying on the push at the moment, but it's faring him really, really well. So 29 vills and 6 military to 29 vills and 30 military. So Stormkeeper has gotten housed a couple of times behind this, and he has dropped production a couple of times, but he's sniped so many vills that he's made it worth it. He's put Murder1nc under so much pressure that Murder1nc is struggling to get any military out at the moment. Murder1nc going to have to look at shifting some rangers back now. Unlike his last opponent, Stormkeeper doesn't have to worry about his opponent just upping and lifting his buildings and shifting them back. Without any archers out, it's going to be rough for Murder1nc to turn this one around. At the moment, he's going to have to throw down... He's got the wood too. He probably should just throw down another 2 rangers straight away. I think he's just struggling to keep up on the multitasking here because he's got scouts over here trying to deny this outpost unsuccessfully, and Stormkeeper's just really... Ooh, this is really rough as well. Murder1nc has most of his economy actually AFK at the moment. Well, AFK. Actually idle at the moment because he's got these vills in this tower, which he can probably afford to pull out now that it's already upgraded. And he's got some units here to garrison into it anyway. Here we go. So, the eco for Murder1nc revving back up again. But he's behind a little bit by now. So already a ram on the way here. So Stormkeeper has added the blacksmith and gone for siege engineering behind this, so he can really start an aggressive push. That tower is going to help him get really close to his opponent's town center and engage units inside his opponent's base. He'll have that attack speed buff. One villager has done so much for Stormkeeper and hasn't been sniped. Well, yeah, there's been no ego techs for Murder1nc, and he's still not got on the gold. So he's been producing horsemen, which are a good counter to the longbowmen, but if you need something to deal damage to longbowmen while tanking a hit or two from spearmen, you need the knights, particularly when you disengage, because they'll be able to heal up. So this is really rough for Murder1nc from here. He hasn't really amassed a critical mass of archers to try and whittle down all these spearmen either, so things are looking quite tough for him, I think, at the moment. In fact, Stormkeeper's able to pretty much just sit inside tower range and focus down the outpost anyway at the moment. So Murder1nc, no blacksmith upgrades at the moment either. He's got a little bit in the bank, but I think at the moment he probably just needs to throw down production just to be able to defend against this fight. Like, add another range, add another stables, and try and work on getting age 3 from here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. The Stormkeeper is really mounting the aggression. Not wanting to overextend till he gets a 3rd and maybe even a 4th ram just to snipe the town center while he takes the fight here. Because the beauty is it puts your opponent on the spot having to try and focus down the ram, but also focus down your army and not lose everything. Oh, this is great for Stormkeeper. He's sending only a handful of longbows to finish off that 3rd ram while these ones put in the work, chipping away at the buildings, and his bowmen are in that much of a mass they can kill archers and horsemen extremely quickly. While the knights, there's just not enough knights and there's just not enough archers here for Murder1nc at the moment. So he's going Gonna make one last attempt, but GG. Well played.